Nowadays, we are constantly surrounded by an endless stream of information, from the internet and television to mobile apps and social media. In this overwhelming flow, it can be difficult to maintain inner peace and mental clarity. That's why it's important to ask ourselves how much of what we consume is actually true, and what is the cost of acquiring this so-called knowledge. Let's explore what we can do to protect our informational and energetic purity. The internet and television, a factory of illusions or a path to truth? In today's world, the internet and television offer us knowledge, news, entertainment, and many other benefits. But do they always deliver on these promises? We often question the truthfulness of the information we receive, yet rarely think about who is actually shaping our perception. According to research conducted by the Institute of Journalism, only 10% of what we see on the internet can be considered reliable. Just imagine, only 10%. The rest consists of artificially constructed distortions of reality. These manipulations influence our subconscious, making us believe in falsehoods and subjecting us to the interests of others. Every day, we fill our minds not only with misleading information, but also with anxiety-inducing news, scandals, and sometimes even outright absurd statements. Have you ever thought about how all this affects us? How do they capture our attention? Modern media employ a variety of techniques to keep viewers engaged. Many of these methods are far from ethical and operate on a reflexive level. What do you think are the three main mechanisms used to seize our attention? The first is sex, an instinctive attraction that has always drawn attention. That's why sexual imagery is used so frequently to keep viewers engaged. The second is fear. Anxiety and uncertainty compel us to stay alert and constantly monitor the situation. This is why horror movies are so captivating. They keep us on edge, making us eager to see what happens next. The third is laughter. It creates a sense of lightness, giving us the illusion of carefree enjoyment and drawing us into entertaining content. That's why shows that make people laugh tend to attract the most viewers. These three elements, sex, fear, and laughter, form the foundation of advertising, the entertainment industry, and everything designed to hold our attention. These techniques exploit our subconscious emotional responses, making us dependent on the flow of information. We become like automatons, drawn to flashy, provocative headlines without questioning who is behind them. Therefore, if someone wants to discredit a person, they either ridicule them by associating it with sex or try to instill fear, mixing everything with terror, or associate them with some kind of sexual scandal. With these tactics, any name, any individual, even the most pure and virtuous, can be discredited using sex, fear, and ridicule. Who benefits from fake news? Why does it exist? Very often, on the internet and television, we encounter scandals and pseudo-scientific investigations. They create an illusion of reality, making us believe we are well informed, while in fact, they have little to do with the truth. But let's stop and think. Who is behind all this? Who benefits from making us believe certain stories? Don't forget that information is often presented from only one side, depriving us of objectivity and the opportunity to know the truth. Some people believe in this one-sided perception because they do not truly want to dig deep to find the truth. After all, to know the truth One must look at it from different angles, listening to both the witnesses and the accusers. That's why many of the sensational stories we see on the internet and television are actually products of manipulation. They are carefully edited, fabricated testimonies, and sometimes outright fakes. As a result, people begin to believe in false narratives, perceiving them as reality. This gradually erodes our ability to think critically and analyze information objectively. When we blindly trust this kind of information, we set ourselves up to be deceived. The consequences go beyond simple misinformation. Constant exposure to manipulative content leads to mental exhaustion, stress, and even physical illnesses. Often, we don't even realize where certain illnesses come from. In many cases, they stem from the polluted informational environment we are constantly exposed to. If we fail to filter the information we consume, whether from the internet, television, or even the people around us, this informational dirt gradually settles into our aura. First, our mental field becomes polluted. Negative thoughts begin to surface, leading to a loss of motivation, a sense of hopelessness, pessimism, and even depression. Next, our emotional field is affected. We experience fatigue, a loss of the will to live, irritability, anger, and resentment. All of this is a direct result of the toxic information surrounding us. Eventually, this accumulated negativity moves into the physical body, manifesting as various illnesses.
My son suffered from ringing in his ears for more than 5 years. This terrible condition was destroying his life. He would cry constantly, was irritable, and even aggressive. The persistent noise in his head was driving him to the brink, leading to emotional breakdowns, panic attacks, and uncontrollable fits of frustration. He struggled with his development, performed poorly in school, and his condition kept worsening. Doctors couldn't help him, and medications only provided temporary relief without addressing the root cause of the problem. I felt helpless and desperate. I couldn't understand why my son was suffering or how I could help him. Then I remembered the words of the mentors. Our informational field doesn't just affect us. It also influences our loved ones. Their well-being is deeply connected to the state of our biofield. I realized that I was spending too much time on the internet. I was constantly scrolling through social media, always holding my phone in my hands. I barely even looked at my own son because I was drowning in the digital world. Jumping from one thing to another, consuming endless streams of information. And all of this toxic content wasn't just harming me, it was affecting my son as well. I decided to change. I stopped spending so much time online and focused more on my child. We started going for walks in nature, playing outside, and even practicing yoga together. I began studying spiritual practices. I worked on cleansing my biofield, channeling energy, attending events, and even participated in a cleansing session with my mentor. At first, the changes were subtle, barely noticeable, but I started to feel a growing sense of harmony within myself. And then I noticed something remarkable. My son became calmer. His outbursts became less frequent. I continued working on myself, and before long, he told me that the noises in his head were fading. And then, after a few months, something truly miraculous happened. The noise disappeared completely. My son was healthy. For the first time in years, he slept peacefully, started smiling, caught up with his classmates at school, and learning became easier for him. He transformed into a completely different person. I realized that when we heal ourselves, we also heal our loved ones. I am deeply grateful to my mentors for guiding me toward awareness and strength. I still don't understand how I could have ever doubted the school. All the information I consumed on the internet was destroying me, ruining the lives of my loved ones, and tearing apart my family and well-being. I used to believe everything I saw because it was on television, the internet, from bloggers or well-known people. But now I understand that the only thing worth believing is my own heart. The only truth comes from personal experience. And I have that experience. I have experienced the healing of my child. I have experienced the joy of a fulfilled life through the school. I have experienced the happiness of my loved ones and my family. And for this life filled with wisdom and light, I am deeply grateful.
How can we free our minds from this informational clutter? It is essential to realize that the internet and television do not always make us smarter or happier. On the contrary, they often create the illusion that we are learning something important, when, in reality, they only pull us deeper into chaos and anxiety. So what can be our way out? Instead of spending hours in front of a screen, wasting time on meaningless news and entertainment, we can, first, spend more time in nature. Walk, relax in the fresh air, absorb natural energy, and cleanse our mind. Second, attend events at places of power. Develop intellectual abilities, and read books from our school. Third, engage in spiritual practices, meditation, yoga, and other techniques that will help us maintain inner balance and be conscious. Cleanse our biofield from all unnecessary informational dirt and fully harmonize the space in the entire home. Connect with like-minded people. It's important to stay in touch with those who share our values, strengthen our energy field, and fill it with light and purity. This means attending classes, forming large circles of love, and together cultivating light, love, and kindness, spreading them across the city, the country, and even the world. Remember, dear ones, if someone calls you to unite, to engage in spiritual practices, to fill yourself with light and love, and if your heart responds to it, then that is the truth. That is what leads to growth, self-improvement, and the ability to help yourself and your loved ones. But if you hear judgment, doubt, or negativity, whether from friends, acquaintances, loved ones, or well-known figures on the internet or television, if they incite destruction, mock others, or spread malice, it will only bring harm into your life. Do not trust negative information, no matter where you find it, because negativity always leads to destruction. Remember that the truth is always where there is purity of intentions and a sincere desire for goodness. The purity of consciousness is the foundation for spiritual development and harmony. We can learn to distinguish lies from truth and make conscious efforts to prevent the manipulations of the external world from influencing our perception. Let's take care of our inner world. Let's cleanse it from unnecessary information and fill it with the light and harmony of the circle of love. Instead of spending hours in front of a screen, let's seek the truth that lives within us and in the world around us. Study the knowledge of our school, read our books, watch our meaningful animations, attend our events and classes, and create circles of love. Then, every moment of your life will be filled with light and happiness. There's no need to search for answers on the internet or television. The real answer is always found in our own experience, in our connection with nature, and in spiritual practices. The truth lies within your heart. Place your hands on your heart right now. Feel its steady rhythm, the pulse of love and light flowing through you. Realize that this heart has always longed for freedom, love, and understanding. Come to our events and classes. We will surround you with care and love. We love you deeply and wish you happiness, dear ones. Remember, the most important thing is to follow the call of your soul. When you do, you will bring happiness not only into your own life, but also into the lives of those around you. You will fill this world with the radiant colors of love and joy.
In our extreme times, when the fate of the entire planet is at stake, it is crucial for the knowledge of angels and benevolent spirits to spread as quickly as possible, globally, and reach thousands of people. In this way, we can change the future of all humanity. Which is why we are addressing you, dear soul of light. Spread the knowledge about our wise books and films. Share links to videos or cartoons. All of this is available and free. Invite women to individual practices, webinars, and seminars. And the Great Spirit of Light will help you and your family. It will direct an enormous amount of energy to fulfill all your desires. Benevolent spirits and angels will assist you and your loved ones in all matters. A thread of light and love extends from your heart to the hearts of thirsty women, and the creation of good and the dissemination of enlightened knowledge throughout the world begins. Become part of the mission of light. Help people, and God will help you.